Hey guys, the Impact ATL episode 7. So Tucson is talking to his friends about what happened to him and Ari. They like, how bad was it on a scale of 1 to 10? He was like, about a 15. Now, one of his friends, TZ, was there with him, and his friend was sitting there like, oh, Tucson was feeding over Ari energy. And it's like, no, it was actually the opposite. You came in there with Tucson, and he came in demanding some money that she's not obligated to give him, period. And even if you do want to say like, oh, she is obligated to give it to him because she promised for his birthday, she still gets to do that on her own time. She has to balance her other expenses before she can just say, okay, let me throw this 20K out to Tucson. But then Tucson did say, which I agree with, that he felt like when Ari spat at him, that was just the scummiest thing she could have did. And, that's what really is hurting him. And I did say last week that I felt like her message was completely correct, but she was wrong in spitting at him. And she also was wrong in how she kept like calling him a bitch and stuff because he wasn't calling her out her name. So Tucson said he just feel like Ari never gave a F about him because how could you spit on him? But then he also said, it's no benefit in me being her friend. So what am I her friend for? Which goes back to my point that Tucson is an opportunist and he was around Ari to try to benefit and have more things happen for himself. So his friends was like, do you miss Tay? And he said, yeah, I actually called Tay as soon as I left there because that's my real good friend. And I said that before too, that I feel like Tucson was really friends with Tay, but he saw that Ari was the big influencer. So he got closer to Ari than Tay even is now. Like he pushed himself into that position of being Ari's best friend that Tay used to have so that he could get opportunities from it. And he basically said he called Tay because Tay had told him Ari ain't no good friend before. And we know Ari and Tay just made up a couple episodes ago. So it's not far-fetched to believe that Tay might have been talking shit to Tucson saying that Ari's not a good friend. And then I also recently saw an interview that Ari did, and she said that she would never be friends with Tucson again because he took it to the internet and that she wouldn't even attend Tucson's funeral when he dies. So Ari is at Joshua Tree for her big photo shoot for Remedy. And remember, she invited Keisha, Gloss Up, and Tori. And Gloss Up said, the label has been on her ass about her music. So she just want to get herself out there more, which includes being out there more as an influencer. So she did what she had to do and got her kids taken care of so she could come out here and not miss this opportunity to shadow Ari. So Keisha was telling Gloss and Tori how Tucson got into it with Ari and he won't be at the photo shoot. Ari done spat at him and Tori was like, well, I kind of don't even think it was a friendship from the beginning because why he's so mad that Ari's not doing enough for him. And Keisha was like, yeah, because she's not his kid at the end of the day. Like, she really don't have to do nothing for him. He comes off very entitled. So Carlay and Daybella was on the phone and she was asking her, has she talked to London? And Daybella was like, no. And she was like, Carlay, London, and Daybella all go back to high school. So she was like, it's like he went from being a friend to me to a complete stranger. She got pregnant. And then in the middle of her pregnancy, he basically told her that he had somebody else pregnant, which I believe was Summer. And then things just went left. And he's not involved in the kid's life at all. And Daybella asked Carlay again, did she speak to him? And she said no. And Carlay was like, me and London never even had that type of relationship where I would be talking to him about his actions. Like, it's not brother-sister. So back at the Joshua Tree shoot, Mike, Tucson's ex, is doing Ari's hair, and he's just telling her, I really want y'all to have a conversation. I don't think it's worth y'all letting the friendship go over some dumb shit. And Ari was like, no, Tucson is not in his right state of mind, and I don't know if it's y'all relationship or what. But it seemed like around the time y'all got into the relationship, that's when Tucson started to change. And Ari told Mike that she knows she was wrong for spitting, but it wasn't really to like spit on him. It was more like spitting like, fuck you, because you just frustrating me. She was like, I already wired that money directly to the dealership. And she basically said his application still failed because his credit is really bad. So Mike was like, well, I really want you to have a conversation with him when we get back to Atlanta. And she said, I got to sleep on it because at this point, I can't tell the difference between a friend and an opportunist. And Tucson is becoming one of those people where I can't tell what he is. So after Ari Glam was done, Tori, Gloss, and Keisha came in to talk to her. Keisha and Gloss said that they did finally get in the studio and do a song. So they're going to do a performance soon and they want to invite everybody. Tori also announced that she did get her Thompson residency, which is what she did that whole pool party for, where she was showcasing to the guy how good of a DJ she is a couple episodes ago. So Daybella is saying how she's going to soon publicly announce that her son, who is 5, has autism, and she wants to start doing more like autism awareness events, which is great. I definitely think there needs to be more representation of people with autism, more autism awareness, and just more of people understanding what it is. And then Daybella was sitting there telling her friend, like, even with me and Carlay, we haven't been as close since I had a baby, but it's always love between me and her. And her friend was like, well, the people who are there for you during your most difficult times are your real friends. So I was like, is this friend being shady low-key? Because Daybella basically just said, in the last 5 years since she had a child, there are some times where Carlay wasn't as hands-on of a friend. So I'm like, is this girl trying to say Carlay is not her real friend? Like, I don't know. It felt a little shady. Amber, that was her name. So Ari's at the shoot and she's irritated because Mike put a wig on her head. And she was like, I don't really be wearing wigs no more. So now when I put wigs on, I just feel like they look stupid on me. But I'm like, girl, you probably just don't like how nobody else do your hair, because clearly Tay hasn't been doing her hair for a while. They just got cool again. So that's why you don't like wigs no more. So they got rid of the wig and did Ari's hair natural. And Ari was saying she was worrying about the light outside, how it's reacting with the camera. And Tori was like, you could shoot in the dark too. I've been Googling. And Ari was like, look at you, Miss Creative Director. But I do like that these four are really getting along and trying to help each other grow and support each other's businesses. So Tay is visiting Atlanta and Tucson is meeting up with him. So Tay is like, what's going on with you and Ari? Like, why is this so deep? And Tucson was like, well, I never received any of the money. And she tried to tell me that it's only for a car. No, deposit the money in my account if it's my money. But no, you're a grown-ass man. If she's giving you the money for a specific thing, that's what she's going to give it to you for, because she already said she don't feel like you're the type of person who she would just give $20K to. It would get ran through and it wouldn't get applied to nothing important. You wouldn't get a car with it. You wouldn't put it into your business. You would just spend it on clothes and shit. And then Tay was like, okay, well, I did talk to Ari and she said like she was wrong for spitting on you. And I told her that as well. But what's next? And Tucson was like, it's still cards left to play. What you think is going to happen when the world hears about this? And then Tay was like, oh, you changed and I'm not feeling it. Like, even Tay calling you out, like, you talking about taking shit to the internet, you going too far. And Tay was like, you too amped up, Tucson, and I don't like it. I think Tucson on that stuff. So then Tucson was like, yeah, and I got a song coming out. And Tay was like, is it about her? And Tucson going to say, we shall see. Ain't nobody listening to that shit anyway. And Tay was like, Tucson, you got to stay humble. Tucson talking about, I'm the show. I don't know if he referring to the Impact or if he referring to Dinner with the Dawn. But it's like, for neither one of those are you the show. You're a nice contributing factor or asset, but the show will go on without you either way. Both shows. And he was like, I don't run from no conversations. I would love to hear what she got to say. Because Tay was like, well, y'all talk it out. But him saying it like that don't sound like he really want to talk it out. It just sounds like he want to have more confrontation on camera. Then he talking about, yeah, I don't even want her to be able to sell pussy on La Cienega Boulevard when I'm done with her. So basically you're saying you just want to destroy her to the point that she's able to do nothing. Yeah, you were never her friend. Because you're basically saying you want to tarnish her image and reputation to the point of no return. So it's getting dark. They still out there shooting. They starting to hear howling and stuff. They like, what the hell is this? Some coyotes out here? Everybody ready to take off running. Ari like, damn, I'm ready to die about this remedy shit. So the shoot ended up going good, and Ari just thanked Keisha, Gloss, and Tori for coming to the shoot and that they uplifted her spirits all day. And Ari is definitely giving girls girl. Like, she really want to see Gloss win. She was like, I want to help you in any way that I can. If you do a shoot and you want me to come, I will come. Like, I want to see you do big things. So Gloss says that today she's visiting the soundstage with Keisha to get ready for their performance, and she had to bring her kids with her today. So they practice and rehearsing with a live band. And I will say that Gloss is pushing through despite her kids being there. Like she said, it's just bring your mommy to work day. She got to do what she got to do, and I respect it. So Gloss' team came in. So these are the same people she was talking to a few weeks ago in the recording studio, and they were telling her, like, you would have been dropped if you were on a different label. And he was basically saying, I'm just confused because I thought we was getting in the studio, but now you're doing this live band performance. And she was like, that wasn't my idea. That was her idea. So basically, the two people that's on the team that came in together are clearly not even on the same page about what they want to do with Gloss. And he was like, well, your streams are declining. And she was like, yeah, well, I haven't dropped since May. I send songs and y'all don't say nothing. And he was like, do you really want to have this conversation right now? Which basically gave me, do you want to talk about this in front of Keisha? So he was like, do you want me to tell you why, like, we don't respond when you send songs? And she was like, I know why. You going to say I always sound the same. I sound like Gloss Up. That's who I am. And she asked Keisha, like, do all your songs sound the same? And Keisha said, no, like, I purposely will try to change it up at times. And Keisha basically told Gloss, don't get mad at them because they the biggest players on your team. You got to be more open and more willing to get out your comfort zone. Sometimes the people on your team see something in you that you don't even see in yourself, and they just trying to bring that out of you. So Ari and Yosan go to meet up with her mom and all of her sisters, and she's just telling them how the Joshua Tree photo shoot went. And then she said she want to do this Remedy activation party, which is basically going to be used to show people that Remedy has the potential to be in all the big box stores, on all the shelves, in Sephora, Ulta, etc., because that's what she wants, and that's what will push her to be like a $1 billion company. And then her mom asked about Tucson. She was like, I love me some Tucson. Is he invited? And Ari was like, no. And her mom was like, so there's no room for reconciliation? And she said, we definitely not doing business. Like, that's done. But if he want to have a conversation about us possibly moving forward as friends, maybe we could do that. But this is still before she's finding out that he's planning on going on social media like he told Tay. So they asked Yosan, does he like the idea of being homeschooled? That way he could go back and forth between Atlanta and Miami freely. He said yes. So Ari's mom was like, obviously, I'm going to be the homeschool teacher, but that's fine because it gives me something to do. So she said for right now, she has her place in Miami, and her next plan is to purchase a house for her family in Atlanta. But in the next couple of years, obviously, they will probably sell all of that, and she will be buying and creating and building her compound in Miami for her family. So her mom kind of cried a little bit and was like, I'm really proud of you. But then she gonna say, so if you need 3 years, I'll give you 3 years. But after that, I'm done with the homeschooling and the compound needs to be built. Again, y'all putting all this pressure and responsibility on Ari, and none of y'all talking about contributing nothing. So y'all don't need to be telling her how much time it need to take. If y'all not putting in no money, it could take however long it take her to get it done. Get off y'all asses and do something. I'm sick of y'all. So we see TUSON in the studio talking about, yeah, I'm recording my song Lied to You. I was lied to. The check was a lie. And I'm going to drop my song and my GoFundMe at the same time just to let the people know what's been going on. TUSON, you're a fucking fool. And TUSON is like, well, technically, Ari made it public because she publicly sat there and showed everybody that she was giving me the $20,000 check to make herself look good for the people and for social media, but she didn't even do it. So I have the right to let them know because she made it public, basically. He said the single cover is going to be the check with the stamp that says Lie to You. And he told his friend that he know that Gloss and Keisha are having an event for their song soon. And his friend was like, okay, so what if you see Ari there? And he was like, I don't care. So TUSON went on and posted it, and he was like, yeah, Ari has a lot of fans and supporters, but I feel like after I post this, those tires will start deflating. Like, again, you trying to ruin her career for what? It's giving lame, it's giving entitled, it's giving jealous. And then it didn't work out in his favor because I remember before this season came out, when he did post the GoFundMe, it was on the Shade Room and stuff. And everybody was like, TUSON, I know you're not asking us for money in this economy, posting a fucking GoFundMe. GoFundMe is for people who really need the money. Stop misusing the app or the website. And TUSON was like, yeah, because after her spitting at me, we would never be friends again. So then Ari did see that he posted the GoFundMe, and we saw that the blogs were starting to pick it up. And she was like, this is exactly what he's been doing to me for the whole friendship, begging and leeching. Now he's begging and leeching off the people with this GoFundMe. So the episode ends there. And next week, we kind of just seeing the fallout from all of this. Everybody reacting to it. Ari talking to her sisters about it. Keisha telling TUSON basically that she doesn't really agree with how he's moving. Gloss up telling TUSON that Ari's having a party and asking him, was he going? And he was like, what would be the purpose? Like, I'm obviously not invited. We see Daybella and Julian getting into it, kind of getting in each other's faces. These flamboyant men be something else, child. Getting in women's faces. I don't like it. So then Ari's having a party, and she's starting to hear people say that Gloss Up invited TUSON. So she asked Gloss Up, did she invite TUSON? And she said, yeah. Now, Gloss Up, that was messy. Because if you done heard the story about how Ari just finished spitting on him and he on social media talking about her, why would you invite him to her event without letting her know? And it looks like TUSON does try to pull up, but Ari is not going to let him even enter the building. So I will see y'all next week for episode 8 of the Impact Atlanta. Bye.